Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru,
गुण परे एक गुण नाही, अमृत छाड़ बिखे बिख खाही, माया मोह परम पै फूले, सुतारा स्यो प्रीत लगाई। एक उत्तम पंथ सुनियो गुर संगत, त्रह मिलंत जम त्रास मिटाई। एक अरदास पाठ कीरत की, गुरु रामदास राखो सरनाई। गुरु रामदास राखो सरनाई। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। So Satsang ji, now we're going to do two talks. We're going to do the breadth and the depth of Sikhi. How wide is it and how deep is it? Because we always get told, they always say, oh Sikhs, you know, all religions are true. You know, very common saying, all religions are true. Then somebody comes back to us and they go, if all religions are true, why do you follow Sikhi? Very good question, huh? So Sikhi is very wide, but it's not the case that every religion is true in the same way that a Sikh would follow it. A Sikh follows Guru. We just talked about this now. So Guru's mat is the highest mat as far as we're concerned. The Guru's Bani is the highest Bani. But how do we then relate to other religions? This is today's topic. So one way to understand the breadth of Sikhi is to imagine a big batta or a samundar. And you know a batta is like this. It's got loads of water all over it. So we're going to say now that the religion is the water in the batta. ठीक है ना? The Sikhi is that batta. Religion sits inside Sikhi. Guru Granth Sahib Ji's got writings by 36 different people inside it. People of different religions are talking to God. Bhagats. They're talking to God and they're giving their view, their love. They're singing poetry to God. And all of that devotion is captured inside Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So actually, in one way, you could say this, that even if you're going to get to God in any way, from any religion, the only way to do it is through love. There's no other way. You're going to have to fall in love with God. That's why Guru Gobind Singh says, Sach kaho, so leho sabe, jine prem kiyo, tin hi prapayo. So if love is the only way, then Gurbani is like a maths book. If you study maths, wherever you study maths, if you've got a big maths book, the encyclopedia of maths, no matter what maths you study, it will fall inside that encyclopedia. If you're going to get to God anyway, you're going to be inside Gurbani. Because Gurbani will have covered that way of worship. Which is like, if you have a guru, you give yourself to your guru, then love for the guru is reflected in Gurbani as well. So to explain that, Gurbani tells us that Sikhi is the path of the saints. Sat ka marg. This is the way, Sacha marg. The true way is to forget religion and embrace God. Religion itself means nothing. It's just a label. That's why when Guru Nanak Dev Ji was asked, when he went to Mecca, they asked him, who is better, Hindu or a Muslim? And Guru Nanak Dev Ji's response was, Shubh Amla. Correct and good actions are what make you get into heaven, or where you're going to call it Bisht or Sugird or Swarg. You only get there by good actions, you don't get there by a label on your soul. So therefore, Sikhi is broad enough to say that religion does not matter, but your actions do matter. Religion doesn't matter, but your love for God does matter. Which is why it says, Sarab taram mein shrest taram, har ko naam jap nirmal karam. The highest religion amongst all religion is to do naam japana and to live pure actions, to do pure actions. Sarab taram mein shrest taram, har ko naam jap nirmal karam. This is Guru Arjan Dev Pasha, Sukhmani Sahib saying this. It's repeated by a lot of Sikhs every day. We know this part. But to understand the depth of just those two lines, this kills all of our religious pride. We walk around saying, I'm proud to be a Sikh and all this kind of stuff. While they're saying, don't do that. Don't do Naam Japna, do live pure actions. So the path of the saints is made up of, just divided it into 4 different things. Moral actions. The moral actions are honesty, earning, not exploiting anybody, sharing, serving people, believing in equality and justice and freedom. These are moral actions. That's why Santaka Marg Taran ki Paudi Go Vadapa ki Pai. You're lucky if you get to be a good person in this world. We get proud to be a good person. People always say, I'm a good person. Maharaj is saying you're lucky to get blessed to be a good person, because the road of the saints starts with righteous action. The next part of that path of the saints is you have to control your 5 evils. No matter what religion you're in, you're going to have to do this, which is your Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. These 5 things, they're your enemies. They're stealing from you. We'll talk about them more when we come to the science of connecting. But effectively, every single person has to fight these 5, no matter what religion they are. We also have to respect Vaheguru, and for us in Sikhi, we're given the idea of sitting in Sangat to sing praises, to find love for Vaheguru. But love for Vaheguru comes in the company of holy people. So if you want to live in this world, you want to be religious, what do religious people do? They gather together and they pray. No matter what religion they are, they always gather together and they pray, because it's powerful in numbers. So this is the road of the saints, to live honestly, control your 5 inner evils, respect Vaheguru, sing, and then have that spiritual connection to God. So in Sikhi we call this Naam. Sat Naam. Through the Naam we will find the Sat. For us the Naam is Amrit Naam, the immortal name. If we get this Amrit Naam, we're going to live forever, we're not going to die. We're not going to come back on this earth. Also, if we get this Naam, it's going to be tasty. Yeah? It's Naam Ras. Ras means juice, like Gurdwaras. If you're hot in the summer in India, you're going to have a glass of juice. When you're burning in the fires of Kaljug, you need Naam Ras. That's going to give you Thanda. That's why it says in Bani so many times ki Bani is like Thanda. Mera man Sital hoye. I've calmed, I've relaxed. And so many times the Bani says about the coolness of Naam. And when you do Naam Simran, you can feel that coolness. It will stem into you from above. So Maharaj is telling us that we can experience the Creator while we're alive. And actually, I put a quote up there, Ki Nanak Naam Bina Ko Mukt Na Hui. Without the Naam, we will not get Mukti. So although this spiritual connection is very nice and tasty, it's also extremely important. Because this, you know Harmandir Sahib, when we go to Harmandir Sahib, it's a parkarma. We can keep going round and round that parkarma, we'll never get to Harmandir Sahib. It's a very important analogy, because the video about it we made, we can spend 8.4 million lives going round and round Harmandir Sahib. We'll never get in. There's only one way to Harmandir Sahib. We have to go through Darshan Deri, we have to walk down that path. We have to go through love. We have to go through Naam. There's no other way to God. Nanak Naam Bina Ko Mukt Na Hui. We have to go through name. We have to call our Creator. We have to pick up the phone and call. There's no point having a phone not making a call on it. That's what Sikhi is about, calling. We're going to get to this in a minute when we get to the connection side. So, and the 5th point I've said is about unconditional surrender of the ego to the Guru. No matter what religion you're in, no matter what path you're in, if you're following Jesus, if you're following, you have to follow this path. We have to give up our ego. To get this Naam, the thing that's holding us back is our home. And Guru Sahib comes as the collector of home. He takes our home on. We puj him, we worship him, and in turn we give away our ego. And he takes it. So he blesses us. So when we say ki aisa satguru je mile, tisno sir sompiye, what happens? Vicho aap jaye. Our ego goes, Vicho aap jaye. So Guru Sahib is that important to us. And what do we want that for? Because har aap mulk hai. Vaheguru is beyond any price. Har aap mulk hai. Mul na paya jaye. Mul na paya jaye kisse vetto. Rahe lok villaye. Aisa satguru je mile. Tisno sir sompiye. Vicho aap jaye. Jisda jiyo. Tis mil rahe. Har vasse mane aaye. Har aap mulk hai. Pagtna ki nanaka. Jin har palle paaye. God is beyond price. Only thing we have to give is this ego. We can't pay nothing else for it. And the ego is given to us as well. Ego is a hukum as well. So we're giving back what we got given in the first place. So Guru Angad Dev Ji exemplified giving up of ego. That's why they became Guru Angad. When they were Pailana, they gave themselves to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. If Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, go and shake that tree, it's full of fruit, and it wasn't, they shook it and it was. They just believed. They had no question. And all the Gurus did this. Look at the history of the Gurus, and finally we see with the Panch Pyare as well. The Panch Pyare also gave themselves to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Guru Gobind Singh Ji picks up a sword and says, I want a head. If Bhai Daya Singh go up and say, Paisa, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, I'll give you my head, but first tell me why. Did he ask that question? No. History says, he says, if no one else is going to give it to you, mera le lo. I'm not worthy. Do you think that Bhai Singh was sitting there thinking, nah, I'm not sure, when Guru Gobind Singh was asking? No. Bhai Singh was thinking, I'm not worthy. Somebody better than me should go up. But no one else stood up. Then he said, well, I'll give it. They weren't waiting to say that somebody else better, that they're going to just wait there because they had a sort of bit of an ego. No, they were waiting for someone better. That's how they saw themselves. And when they went up to take Amrit, they didn't go up to take Amrit. You see, nowadays we go to take Amrit. People go to Amrit Sanchar to take Amrit. The Panch Pyare did not go to take Amrit. They went to die. They knew death is waiting there on that stage. Guru Gobind Singh Ji is not going to smile at them and put bugs on them and sit them down and say, Aha Mera Guru Khalsa. That's not what they thought was going to happen. They thought, I'm going to go up there and Guru Gobind Singh is going to take a sword and chop off my head. And they said, wow, sounds great. See, we would think, man, that sounds scary. And they thought, sounds great. Who better than Kalgidhar Pasha to take my life? If I'm going to die anyway, everybody's going to die. Who better than Kalgidhar Pasha to take my life? That's why they gave their heads. That's why we say, ki, oh Guru de pyare sige. That's why they're the Panch Pyare. So they're giving their ego. They transcended life and death. Mare jive Maria. They're prepared to die to their Guru. Whatever the Guru said, they were prepared to do. So this path of the saints involves this unconditional surrender of the ego. And if you look at any religion, look at the Sufis, look at the Buddhists, they all talk about this ego that we have to give up. What we're going to do now is just go through just some ideas about how a Sikh might relate to other religions. Just to give us that breath. Now let's say, for example, a Sikh was sitting in a room, like a multi-faith meeting, yeah? And there was Buddhists and Hindus and Christians and Jews. Where does a Sikh sit? And my view is, a Sikh sits in the middle. The reason why a Sikh can relate to every single one of them is that the spokes in a wheel. The Sikh is in the middle and all the spokes go out. Because when the Buddhist starts talking about nirvana, sahaj, the Buddhist starts talking about mindfulness, every second thinking about their mind, achet hona, and then losing desires, vashna, to lose your vashna. Sikh starts talking, he talk about equipoise, reincarnation. A Sikh can relate to all of those things. They go, hanji, 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 we have that, ba, maja, maja. But then, they haven't got a karta purkh, but a Sikh has a karta purkh. They don't have a being, they just have consciousness. We have a karta purkh, but they're not going to argue with the Buddhist. Then the Hindu will come up, he might argue with the Buddhist and he might say, well, we've got 4 different forms of Bhakti Yoga, Raj Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Karam Yoga. Guru Ji says, yes, we do Karam, we do good actions, we do Seva. We do have Gyan, we have Gur Gyan. We also have, like we say, Gurmani ki, Lok Jane e Geet hai, e to Brahm Vichar. It's the highest form of meditation, what we think is music. Then, Raj Yoga means control over your mind, winning your mind. Maharaj says, Man jeete jag jeet. It says in Gurbani ki Raj Takht. Guru Ramdas sitting on the Raj Takht. It says in Bani very clearly. He's in full control, he's master of his own mind. And Bhakti, of his Sikh, he's all about Bhakti. Gur ki matu le yane, Bhagat mena, bhodu besyane. So all these 4 join in Sikhi. Vedanta, in Hinduism, starts talking about Advait, one Vaheguru. We talked about this, the 7th path of enlightenment. Sikhi can relate to that guy as well. The Sikh can say, yeah, it's all about one. Sab Gobind hai, Sab Gobind hai. Gobind bin nahi koi. We have to wipe out our mind and become one with Vaheguru. Sahaj Avastha. Then they might meet somebody who's from the Santamat, who does loads of bhakti about their Devi or about their Guru. And we say, yeah, we do that as well. We do bhakti of our Guru. Gur jaisa nahi ko dev. Guru is our Devan Dev. Then they might say, well, I worship my Guru. I love my Guru's feet. We say, we do love as well. A Gur Sikh says, Gur ke charan toye toye jiva. Gur ka darshan dekh dekh jiva. Gur ke charan toye toye piva. I wash my Guru's feet and I drink that water. How blessed is that water. I kiss my Guru's feet. This is what a Guru Sikh does. They worship their Guru. Guru ki murad man mein dhyan. We worship our Guru, that's what we do in Sikhi. It's not that we don't worship our Guru. And that's what we do worship our Guru. a Sikh does worship the Guru, but what do they worship now? They worship Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Worshipping Guru is to read Guru. Then along comes a Muslim and starts talking about Tawheed, the oneness of God. Sikh says, yeah, ek oankar, yeah, Sahib mera eko hai, pai eko hai. Sikh can relate to that oneness of God, but also the Sikh can talk about worshipping and submitting to God. Islam means kabul karna, to submit yourself to God. And a Sikh says, I do the same thing, I submit myself to the will of God. Raza of that Akal Purakh. And that's why Gurbani says so many times the word Allah comes up. The word Allah will come in Guru Granth Sahib Ji more times than the word Vaheguru comes in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Because Maharaj says, does it make a difference? Yeah, there's only one. There's only one Vaheguru, regardless of what you call him. So a Sikh can relate to a Muslim. And especially they can relate to the Sufis. Because Sheikh Farid is in there. So when Sheikh Farid says, Dilo Mohabbat Jin Sahi Satya, Jin Man Hor, Mukh Hor, Se Kade Kachya. They go, yeah, they can relate to that. So we can relate to that part, but also if a Jew comes up, starts talking about oneness of God, the Jews also believe that God is everywhere. Islam says God is outside, but a lot of the Kabbalah Jews, they will say that God is in the world, immanent, as opposed to separate. And Sikhs have that as well. We say, Ki apine aap sajiyo, apine rachiyo nao, dui kad sajiye kar asan ditho chao. Tusi bhai ode vich. You made the world and you're sitting in the world, Vaheguru Ji. The Sikhs would say that as well. But the big difference is, obviously with Islam, is that we don't believe that everybody outside of Islam, outside of Sikhi, is going to hell. But some people do believe that. We don't believe that Jews do, that they're a special race. They believe they're a special race. You have to be Jew to get in. We don't believe that. So there are key differences, but there's lots of similarities. Christians, they love Jesus, isn't it? They love him. They even, people every year just work, hang them, or they put themselves on a cross, and they'll have nails put into their body to experience the glory of Christ when he was being crucified. Sikhs love their Guru as well, in the same way. So we can relate to that Guru worship form, that Guru is the form of God. That's what they say, Jesus is the form of God. Sikhs can relate to that as well. And also, they love to say God's name. They say, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on heaven as it is in earth. If you read the Lord's Prayer, we made a video about this, Sikhism and Christianity. If you read the Lord's Prayer, you will see the similarities. It's all there, just they finish off with Jesus Christ, Amen. We just stop there. We say Amen. Everything else is a lot of similarities. But the question here, some people ask is, if I become a Sikh, am I leaving Jesus? No, you're not leaving Jesus, because Jesus for us is Sant, a Mahapurakh, a Brahmgyani. But Guru Sahib is Satguru. So Guru Sahib is come as a Pura Guru. Now very little of Jesus' Bani remains. And if Guru Nanak Ji had come and they had gone, very little of their Bani would remain as well. Wouldn't they? Because people would start faking it. People already started faking it by Guru Angad Dev Ji's time. Imagine what would have happened if there was only one Guru. But because there was 10 of them, no one could change it. Because Guru Gobind Singh Ji, from memory, recited the whole Guru Granth Sahib Ji. 100 years after Guru Angad Dev Arjan Dev Pasha put it together, that's why we've got now Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the authentic word of Vaheguru for us. So, Guru Sahib is Jagat Guru. So if a Christian was to look at Sikhi, they could learn from it, they could stay Christian. They don't have to become a Sikh, they can learn from it. Because a lot of their Bani has been corrupted. But they could learn from Gurbani, they can stay a Sikh. And people did in Guru's time. And some people can step up and say, I want to become a Sikh. So what I want to do now is give you like two words we can use. There's people in the world that look at Guru as Jagat Guru. And there's people in the world that see Guru as Satguru. Now we have to decide where we are along this path. When it's Jagat Guru, we just learn. We listen and we learn. But we haven't accepted. The path a Sikh walks is from Jagat Guru to go to Satguru. When a Sikh accepts Guru as Satguru, at that point the Sikh is saying, this is the truth. This is the light. This is the way. I'm not doubting. Bas. Sunya, manya. This is the path. From Sunna to Manana starts from listening to Guru, understanding and appreciating it, to moving on to accepting it fully. And no more doubt. Huh? This is the path all the Gurus walked. And there's two things that help us on this path. The first one is our discipline, our rehat. As we do more rehat, helps us to stick in Guru's way. We might start with Japji Sahib here, but when we get to this point, we're going to be doing Panch Baniya, if not more. The other thing that helps us along this way is experience. Sikhi is all about experience. It's not about just talking about Bani. So when we read Sukhmani Sahib, we should get Sukh. When we say Ades, they say Ades, Ad, Anil, Anad, Anahat, Jug, Jug, Eko Ves, we should be thinking about that one. So Sikhi is about experience, it's about Naam. It's about this Dasam Dwar here, which a lot of people don't know about in our Panth, frankly. This spot here, sparking up, and a bit of magic happening in our life. It's about this spot here, sparking up, the Trikuti, the third eye point as they call it, and the Dasam Dwar. What Buddhism will call the flowering spot of the 10,000 petal lotus, or Hinduism will call the 7th chakra, we call the 10th door, Dasam Dwar, and it will start to lighten up. And our Trikuti here, the third eye point, will start to lighten up. We will start to experience in our physical body Vaheguru Ji. This is what Sikhi is about. That's why we can relate to all these religions, because every single person in the world has tried to do this. Experience the divine by different ways, like a mountain. And Sikhi is giving us the sum of all of these desires and nijod of all these desires. So if we're going to look at the depth of Sikhi, previously we said imagine all of religion was a batta, a bowl. And we said the whole of religion is a batta and Sikhi is a batta. It's holding it all together. This time, same batta, now imagine in the middle of that batta there's a Nishan Sahib going up. That's the depth of Sikhi. Why is it in the middle of the batta? Because that's the deepest part. That's where the depth is. Of all the batta, depth is in the middle. And Sikhi is like that. Guru Sahib is telling us that not only have I made it simplified, I've given you the Uttam, the deepest Sikhi is here, because Sikhi is about becoming one with that Creator. It's not about going off the path and worshipping some other Ram, some other Ravan, some other Hari. It's not about those people. It's about the one that made every single one of them. Ades, they say Ades. Who do I bow down to? To that one. Ad, who is at the beginning of time. Anil, who is pure. Anahat, Ad, Anil, Anad. Anad, who has no beginning. Although he is our beginning, he has no beginning. Vaheguru Ji has no beginning. And she was also a woman. Ad, Anil, Anad, Anahat. Vaheguru Ji cannot be destroyed. And Juga Juga Eko Ves, only one form. What's that form? Akal Murat. Outside of time. That's their Murat. So, if we're going to follow this one, we're trying to become one with that one. What could be deeper than that? If that's the biggest thing there is, and our aim is to become one with that one, then we are at the biggest aim, aren't we? There's nothing bigger than Vaheguru, and we're trying to become one with that one. So as it says in Bani, Uche Upar Ucha Now. Above Sachkhand is the now. And we're trying to follow that now. So we're trying to become above Sachkhand, to become one with that Vaheguru. So if Sikhi is the deepest one, and our main aim is to become oneness with the divine, that's why it says in Bani, this is where we can say, okay, we can relate to other religions, but how are we different? Because it says in Bani, the Hindu is blind and the Muslim is one-eyed. This comes up, Hindu, Anna, Turku, Kana. Why is that? Because the Muslim is looking at God in a one-eyed way. He says God is outside the world, but God is one. Doesn't realize God is here and is inside the world. And the Hindu says God is not, I don't know where God is, about the Murti or the Devi Devte. This is what most, not that all of Hinduism, most of Hinduism is stuck inside Devi Devte Puja. And if you don't believe me, just go to a Gurdwara, go to a mandir one day. It's the most strange experience. If you used to Gurdwara, it's a really strange experience to go to a mandir. Because when you go to a mandir, you'll walk in and you'll see people walking around, you see all these idols, and you see people bowing to them. As a Sikh, it just makes no sense. You think, what are they doing? They're worshipping this stone. And that's exactly what they do. Even now, in the West, most of them are still doing that same thing. And it's very disconcerting for a Sikh, because there's no langar, there's no central way to go down Matha Tek, and then there's all these idols of different people. And you think, that doesn't make any sense. Because it doesn't make any sense. That's why Bahani says, ki Hindu, Anna, Turku, Kana. So it's not to cut other religions. It's not that we go around saying, mate, you're blind, you are. And you're one-eyed. That's not the way to do it. Guru Granth Sahib Ji is not telling us to go out there and point fingers. That's not what Sikhi is about. But for us to understand where do we want to go, we have to look at that line. Because the next part says, Hindu Anna, Turku Kanna, and then Duha te Gyani, I think Syana, I think the word is. That the Gyani, the true Gyani, knows more than both of these people. What is the Gyani? Maharaj says in Bani, Gyani kaisa hoye? What kind of person is a Gyani? Nowadays you see Gurdwara, we have Gyanis. A Gyani means this, as per Gurbani, Aap pachane buje soye. Knows their own soul. They recognize who they are. Pachan means to recognize. Recognizing where we come from. That's why it says in Bani, Man, tu jot sarup hai. Apna mool pachan. Know your root. Where did you come from? Man, tu jot sarup hai. You are the light of Vaheguru. Recognize where you come from. So if we're trying to become that, that's what a Gyani is. Aap pachane. And the next part, buje sohe. Who understands where Vaheguru is? Vaheguru is here inside us. And what is Vaheguru to us? All the things we talked about in the lecture earlier. Vaheguru is that Jor. Vaheguru is that Jot. Vaheguru is that ocean, and we are part of that ocean. So a Sikh is trying to achieve oneness with the most divine. The Rajan ke Raja, Maharajan ke Maharaja. That's our Guru and that's our Vaheguru. We're trying to become one with them. So on the spiritual side, if you go into spirituality, they'll talk about that your body's got physicality. It's a bit of a shame that a lot of Sikhs don't understand this message in Gurbani. That there is a spiritual physicality of your body. Like you've got your heart pumping blood around your body, you've also got spiritual nerve endings. These can be activated by Gurbani. And it gives us the first one we talked about already, Dasam Dwar, the highest one. We also got the Ida and the Pingala. These are nerve endings that are flowing around our body. And Kabir Ji talks about these in much more detail. We can't go into it now. But if you do yoga, they explain these to you. But when you come to Gurdwara, why don't they explain it to you? Because it's in Gurbani. So if we ignore this truth about the spirituality of Sikhi, people are going to think there's nothing there. Huh? We're not explaining the depth of Sikhi. As a Pant, we're walking away from the depth of Sikhi, and we're not telling people about that you've got this third eye point, and you've got this 10th door. Because the kids think there's nothing there. But when you tell someone, you got 9 doors, I count them with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2 below. If you got 9 doors, and you've got a 10th one hidden, the question that comes next is, how do I open it? If someone tells you you've got eyes, you can see, you've got ears, you can hear, you've got a mouth, you can speak and you can eat. Let's say you've got a 10th door, they're going to say, O ki honda hai fir? O the ki honda? They're going to say, kive khulda hai fir? O bhi das do. Because you've got it with you, innit? You go home with it, you go to sleep with it, you wake up with it. It's no one else's, it's yours. Wherever you are, that's where 10th door is. Te onu kive kholi hai? So we ask our Guru, Guru Sahib ji tusi dasso. And Maharaj says in Anand Sahib, Har jio gufa andar rakhe vaja pavan majaya. The Vaheguru, inside our body, which is a vaja, place the breath. This pavan is a breath. Every breath we take is our pran. Pranpati. He's the husband of our breaths. So Vaheguru is the husband of our breaths. The depth is that every pran we talked about is the most valuable thing we have, and the husband of those breaths is Vaheguru. So when we put the mantra into our breath, that's what Bhai Gurdas he says, Paun Guru. He said Paun Guru Pani Pitana. He says Paun Guru, Guru Shabad hai. Vaheguru, Guru Shabad Sunaya. The Guru Shabad is Vaheguru, and that is going to be your breath. So with every Sikh, when a Sikh starts to say, with every breath, when a Sikh goes Vaheguru, 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 then Paun Guru ho gaya. That's the Paun Guru. And then the next thing we need is Pani, to be our father. Pani is contentment. Pani is Nimrata. Look at water. Wherever you put it, it stays that shape. It's content. We are the one with a storm inside our mind. Pani is Sheetal. Pani means Santok. It doesn't mean water. It means Santok, and it means humility. Water flows downwards. Wherever you put it, it goes down. This is the deepest, the side of Gurbani that we're not delving into. We're just going saying, Guru is the, wind is the Guru, water is the father, and the mother is the earth. That's a literal translation. That doesn't say that Mata is Gurmat. Bhai Gurdwara says, Gurmat Mata Mat hai. Gurmat is the Mata. So when we have the Guru's Shabad in our breath, when we have the humility and contentment of Pani, when we have Gurmat as our mother, what will be born? We will be born. The new we, Marijive Maria, we're going to come up, we're going to grow like a beautiful little seed with Gurmat and the water of contentment and Shant and humility. We're going to grow our new life. Which is why we say in Asa Diwan, Maharaj says, Ki, you've got this breath, you've got this life, what are you going to do with it? Hunvate har naam na bijyo, age pukha kya khaye? If you don't do naam japna now, what will you eat in the next life? The depth of Sikhi is being lost. We're not explaining the depth of Sikhi to our children. Maharaj says, har jiyo gupa andar rakke, vaja pavan vajaya, vajaya vaja pawn of pran, no dware pargat kiye, daswa gupt rakhaya. He made 9 visible doors and he closed the 10th one. He kept it hidden. Not closed, kept it hidden. That's why Gupta Rakhaya. How do we open it? Right? Guru Dware Lai Pavni Ekna Daswa Dwar Dikhaya. If we come to the Guru's door, the Guru's house of enlightenment with love, Pavni, Pavni Pagat. We need to do Bhakti with love. Guru Dware Lai Pavni, Ai Pavni Tab Ekna Daswa Dwar Dikhaya. Then some people get blessed and they can see Dasam Dwar. So we come to Gurdwara, the aim is to do love and bhakti and then get blessed. But Guru Sahib to experience Vaheguru. That's why we say Satgur Sikh ko naam tan de, Gur ka Sikh vad bhagi hai. We are lucky because the tat of all of life, all of essence is being given to us. The depth is to become one with Vaheguru. And there's a message to it, there's a system to it. And we get bliss, anand. And we get Anhad Shabad. We hear music that is not being sung by anybody. This is a strange thing, isn't it? We don't tell our kids, do you know what? If you do Sikhi, become one with God, you will hear music. The kids will be listening out for it. Well, where's the music? I can't hear it. And you say to them, you can't hear it because you haven't started the science of connecting. We're going to go into that next. What's the science? You haven't started walking the path. How will you hear it? If the music is over there and you're here, you have to walk to it. Huh? It's a path. We have to get there. It's a stage of our growth. Also got Riddhi Siddhi. We know people can do magic if they go down this path. Baba Harnam Singh came to visit somebody in London through his astral body. Visited him and went back. Saint Aquinas, Saint Francis of Assisi, was famous for being in 2 places at once. His spiritual body, he could travel. These are things that happen to spiritual people. But it's also a game. You can get trapped in it and miss out on the bigger one. So all these things are like, when you step up, you get higher challenges to pass over. All the spiritual growth of the world is all incorporated in Sikhi. That's why it's that Nishan Sahib in the middle of the butter. Like we said earlier, Sikhi is like a maths textbook. All of the world's religion, in terms of breadth and depth, is in there. But it's not a normal maths book. It's for post-PhD people. Yeah? It's a deeper stage of maths. It's all in there. We just got to go into Shabad. That's why the Guru Shabad is the deepest thing there is for us. Because no matter where somebody's trying to connect to God, they can relate it to the maths and the science in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Guru is like a, well, forget PhD, Guru Sahib invented the topic effectively of spirituality. Maharaj is Naam. They are Pargat Naam. So for us, we are going to learn from the best teacher there ever was and there ever will be. That's why it says in Bani, Bin Satgur Kine na payo, Bin Satgur Kine na paya. Then Satgur vich aap rakhyun, Kar Pargat aak sunaya. No one is going to get anywhere without this truth. No one's ever got anywhere without this truth. In Guru Sahib is Vaheguru, and it's made visible and everybody's told that it's there. Kar Pargat aak sunaya. So as a good Sikh, we have to bow to our Guru, we have to take their wisdom and learn it. Don't just come to Gurdwara and walk home having had langar and giving you a bit of this one. That's not Sikhi. That's still Karam Paktaram Pakhand. When we start listening to Shabad and learning what did Guru Sahib come to teach us, because Sasanji Guru Sahib didn't give us a country, They didn't give us money, they gave us Gurbani. Guru Ajahn Pasha says, when I opened up the treasure of my dad and of my granddad, then my mind was happy. He goes, Pio Dadeda Khod Ditta Khajana Ta Mere Man Paya Nidhana. Then my mind was in happiness. Who is their Pio? Guru Ram Das Ji. Who is their Dada? Who is their Nana? Guru Amar Das Ji. When they opened the Bani of their parents, then they got happy. This is the Khajana for us. Guru Granth Sahib is our Khajana. So the only thing a Sikh needs to do is open up and start reading and learn. Bani Guru, Guru hai Bani, Vich Bani Amrit Sare, Gurbani Kahe, Sevak Jan Mane, Partak Guru Nistare. If we follow this path, when we pass away, and we all will, we know that. Maharaj says, Partak Guru Nistare. Guru Sahib themselves will come for us. When we pass away, if we follow Gurbani, Guru Ji will come for us. Not Jamdut, not his Jele, Guru Ji will come for us. That's the prize. What an amazing prize. Imagine, you want to see Guru Ji? You can, by going through Gurbani. So next talk is going to be about what is the science of connecting. Satsang Ji, please bless us to be successful in the next talk after this. Bula chuka maaf karni ji. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.